mostly play Mario Kart Wii, but I play this game too, and I have a great commentator with me here.
Sure, we'll call me that.
Great friend
Hello,
as
I'm
well.
Laser Trap. Aw, no, you.
Thank you. How do we? I'm so confused. Do we still do a normal countdown? I'm so
Yeah,
lost.
you can do the normal countdown. It's all right.
Okay, sure. Um, yeah. So let's just get into it. I'm gonna count down from three, and three, two, one, go. Okay. So
Make it
this
look.
level's cool. You can explain it.
Yeah, so um, there's a little bit of space where you can get wedged in between the ground collision and the ceiling, and that just allows you to go through the way that he did it, and then kind of infinite jump into the last room of the level. We actually start with the shortest level of the run, and that was so fast. We can explain a little bit more clearly like all of the techniques used in that during this level. I think it's really cool how you see it all happen at once and then you can sort of break it down immediately afterwards.
Yeah. So the main method
So,
of movement. What? What's O about? Did we do
go
something
ahead.
wrong? Okay. Yeah. The main method of movement that we're going to be using in this run is Yoda. Whenever you do like attacks as Yoda, like he kind of lunges forward, and that ends up being the fastest form of movement for free play. We should probably talk about free play. Um, Basically, free play allows you to play through the. Oh, actually, you all know what free play is. In this case, there are two characters that we're really concerned with.
We
The
do.
first is Yoda for the movement reasons that we mentioned, and the second is custom character for the reason that you're seeing there. Custom character has the ability to jump infinitely, as any double jump blaster character can. In the base game, there's only one character that's not a custom character that can do it, that being Jar Jar. But we choose to use custom character because he's on the same screen as Yoda is, as Force Ghost Yoda is when actually selecting the character. Um, and yeah, Yoda, as we said earlier, is very useful for movement reasons, but also for what you're seeing on screen right now. So, John, if you want to explain what that is, feel free.
Absolutely. So, yeah, those clips in particular can be really difficult there. But Yoda has the ability to clip through any door. It doesn't work on like every wall, but the attack patterns from Yoda come in like sets of three, where you have three different like shapes of attack, I guess is a good way of putting it, where you want to land your second attack diagonal to the door, and then press the attack button for the third one, and like immediately after go into the door and clip right through as you saw right at the end of that level, and many times in the middle.
Right, we're going into 4-4. This is another Yoda level, but you do see a technique that, for the most part, you really only see with custom character levels, and that is an improper load. So you kind of saw an improper load in 4-1, but there's going to be another one in this level. John, if you want to explain that one as well.
Sure, so this is called Princessless, because this level combines what we know as Rescue the Princess and Death Star Escape, and getting up on this invisible ledge and then hopefully finding the loading zone for a later room. That skips rescuing the princess, and yeah, it's a pretty difficult jump to do with Yoda. You have to be in like the exact position, and if you miss it once, it's kind of really difficult to get it the next time. But then we're gonna see something really cool here, where he skips past the transition with by pushing the AI player, and then uh, loads in another room out of bounds, kind of stores some weird properties, and that deloads collision of certain things in this room. So there's meant to be like glass blocking that lever there to bring up the Falcon. But as you can see, same with this R2 panel, it is not there. Now, as soon as he switches characters, the collision comes back. Um, so that's why we have to do that R2 panel last.
Yeah, that's also why we didn't swap characters when pulling the switch earlier. Um, Oftentimes you can save a little bit of time by canceling the animation of some of the panels and switches by character swapping. But if we were to do it in that case, then the glass panel would no longer be non-existent, for lack of a better word. Um, so we have to not, or just take the time loss of the animation. I forgot my movement. Okay.
It's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, this level is kind of a chance to breathe after all that. It also has the fun clip in this room where you actually don't have to press any directions. If you stand in the right spot and start attacking, you will go through.
Yeah, that's a fun one. It's the easiest clip in the run since all you have to do is just press Y 3 times. You can try that one at home. And then this is just a standard Yoda clip to end the level. And like that, we're done with our first episode.
Worth mentioning that... Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Worth mentioning that we are not playing the 5th level of the episode. Every level in the DS version, every episode, sorry, has 5 levels, and we don't need to play the ship levels because there is no free play mode available. Do you want me to explain this level?
Yep.
Alright, so Jabba's Palace, we went to episode 6 next, and Jabba's Palace, we do not need to enter the palace at all. This combines both Jabba's Palace and the Great Pit of Carkoon, and we're going to jump straight to, like, near the end of the Great Pit of Carkoon section, like right into the Jabba's sail barge. So infinite jumping, again, you need a character that can double jump and has a blaster. It is pretty difficult sometimes to make sure that you go through that like little improper load without getting your input eaten, because it does generate lag frames. But usually if you play this level the same way, you should be good to go. And as you can see now, we're in the last room, and the ending zone is just on the right here.
Yep. Fortunately, we got Yoda there. It is the case that you want to get Yoda whenever you pick a custom character level, just because he has faster movement when the custom character is not doing the jumps. And actually, this route is kind of based around that. So, John, if you want to explain that route.
Well, Zeldacubed here was the clever one who came up with that route. This game has a debug menu like built into the game, and we use that so that we can start a new game file with exactly what we need, although we do have to do some pre-run setup at the moment. I will pause explanation so I can talk about this. We're going to do a trick called fanless, because you skip the fan. Don't say only first. You don't need the fan to get player 2 up if you can deal all the damage from this phase without getting caught by the lightning. So hopefully you'll know exactly the right attack patterns to use to follow the Emperor and get it done.
Yeah, that saves quite a bit. Not necessarily because of the movement you do, but because you don't have to deal with custom character making his way all around the stage. As you saw there, custom character, player 2, sorry. As you saw there, player 2 is kind of a little difficult in getting him to do what you want, so it's nice that we can at least not worry about that.
And just to finish the explanation on the route,
Go ahead.
Just to finish the explanation on the route, it's set up so that you have very few characters unlocked. You just start with custom character and Yoda. Now, when you beat each level in free play, you will unlock the characters for that level, but it's still more likely to get Yoda in your party than if you had like all the Jedi unlocked, for example.
Where are you going?
This is a pretty cool level, but it is very tricky, and most of it is not necessarily your fault.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of trouble with player 2 this level, but for the most part that was fine. I'd absolutely take that in a marathon run. Alright, Endor. I think this is your favorite level in the run, right?
It was. It's pretty short, but I like... It's just a pretty textbook Yoda level, and there is a unique trick in it. Um, that Zcubed one day he accidentally wrote elevator sip in a different game, and that's why this is called elevator sip, because you sip getting the elevator.
Oops.
So with the self-destruct extra, you can blow yourself up and character swap in the same frame to store some death iframes. Iframes won't go through that like death barrier transition on their own. Um, but if you, I guess, store them, like when you die, that allows you to just fall right through into the loading zone. So we've had some pretty nice Yoda movements so far in the level, but this level ends with a bunker, and we are basically just going to clip through 3 doors right to the end of the level. This is a pretty good, like, training stage for this category.
Okay, am I like misremembering? Why is Astromech supposed to be on slot 4 here? I very much forgot that, if that's the case.
Yes?
Okay, well,
Wait,
doesn't matter.
you're making me confused. You didn't have a small character yet, so yes.
Okay. I don't know why I just forgot that. Anyway, this level is...
Or no, Astromech is always on slot 4 in this run. Right. Ceiling clip. Yeah, that is really hard. Sorry, I should have had something to say about that, but that is insanely hard. Yeah, that is done by single jumping and then slamming, and that is also not an ordinary door clip. But if you single jump and then attack, and on the same frame as attacking swap character, you can get a really big height boost that ignores ceilings. And if you do that twice, yeah, you can skip that door, but it's really hard. The frame perfect part isn't even the hard part of it. It's just like managing everything. And then these are some pretty stalactite jumps.
The classic. Yeah, you'll see that ceiling clip strat at one other point later on in the run, so... But that's like the first example of it, and it makes it nice because for a long time we just hadn't... Well, there was a way of skipping the first room, but it was very terrible. There was only one runner that went for it in runs, so it's kind of nice that we don't have to do that.
Shoutouts to Nuxmaster.
Goodness. Wow, this clip is...
You're clipping out harder than it may appear.
Weird. Oh well.
That was a little bit unlucky because you can switch to player 2 there if they're in a good spot.
And then this level, in my opinion, probably has the biggest discovery since this was last shown off. Before, you had to do... Actually, yeah, I'll let you explain it while I do this.
Yeah, so we actually don't have a name for this particular skip as far as I know, but you can use the slash storage to clip into the ceiling there and then like get out of bounds. And this skips the like RNG detonator clip because for whatever reason these doors are too thick to be clipped through with Yoda. So we had to use a different RNG clipping method. And yeah, we also... I learned that my ending strat by ending the level from this room was in fact like 4 seconds slower. And once again, he's going to use some slash storage so that he can get above there. And yeah, just jump into the end of the level from here. You can also just casually skip all of the Cloud City trap segment of this level in free play without glitches, because you have the character to use the panel.
Yeah, I have to say, before, it was like kind of annoying when you would get a run like this deep and then still have to just rely on an RNG clip for your run to stay good. But that new way of skipping the first door is not only consistent, but it's also faster. So it's really nice. Otherwise, if you walk
looks
right,
cooler too. I didn't think we'd have new like infinite jump skips.
Yeah, if you just walk right at the start, you trigger a cutscene. If that cutscene were not there, then it would not be faster. So it's kind of fortunate that that cutscene is there, actually, which is kind of funny to think about.
I apologize for talking over you. I had a little bit of Discord lag at that moment.
Oh, you're all good. We're also there. You also saw an example of a technique called a force cancel. I've been doing it a couple times throughout the run. Usually with Yoda's attack pattern, you want to cancel like your attack pattern with a jump after the third attack. But in this case, in the case that you can like force an object, then you can cancel it that way instead, and it allows you to just immediately restart your attack pattern without having to perform a jump. When you can do it and it's convenient, it saves a little bit. And that's
With that, I
it for
think
the
we're done
original
with
trilogy.
the original trilogy, right?
Yep. Now on to the prequels, the good movies. Sorry, that's terrible page. This next level, General Grievous, it's pretty unique in that it's the only level where we pick custom character, I think, that doesn't have like an infinite jump skip. We are going to be taking advantage of infinite jumps, but we're not going to be using it to skip a large portion of the level. We're just going to be doing it to clear away some of the obstacles to get Grievous back into the position where you can damage him a little bit faster. So for example, here we're going to do 6 jumps up here. We're going to destroy that thing with our blaster, and he's immediately going to come back down here. And then we're just going to do an infinite jump up here. Reveal this, force it, shoot it, and then we can go and end the level. Makes what would otherwise be a somewhat long fight pretty fast.
It definitely streamlines it, and I'm a big fan of that like unique infinite jump level.
Alright, and now we're coming up to what is, in my opinion, probably the coolest Yoda movement level in the run. At the start, we're going to take advantage of Yoda's extra height he gets from the lightsaber attacks to just jump around the bridge. That bridge has collision even when it's not down, so it looks like we're just walking on nothing, but we're not. It looks cool, and we're going to do it again here. We're going to do it one more time later on. Until then, it's just standard Yoda movement through the rest of this part of the level. But there is a neat skip coming up after like the treetop section with Yoda that we'll get to see. Yep, so here's the last one. And now we're done with this section of the level. So now we're moving on to what John calls the Bubba Beach, and I'll see if you can figure out why. And then, yeah, here's the skip.
Yeah, it's a pretty noisy beach, that's for sure.
Yep. Here's the skip I was talking about. John, if you want to explain this one.
Yeah, so it may look like he did that pretty effortlessly, and to be fair, he is Zeldacubed. He most likely did. But there is more than meets the eye there, because there is a nice invisible wall in front of that gate. So we're actually going under that. You need to lose a little bit of height, and then from there, like, you can't lose too much, otherwise you're not going to go over the gate. Although Zeldacubed did accidentally discover like a safety ledge if you do fall a little bit too much. And then this last clip is pretty tricky as well, but of course you nailed it.
This last room, it's actually really convenient that we have Force Ghost Yoda instead of regular Yoda. Force Ghost Yoda has a property where enemies cannot see him, and it avoids Yoda getting shot. And if you get shot in the middle of like using the Force on an object, it cancels you using the Force. So it makes that room incredibly annoying, and I'm glad we don't have to deal with it. This is another custom character level. Unfortunately, I did not get Yoda in this level. This level, it's for whatever reason, it seems to be the most unlikely to not get Yoda in as a custom character level. I'm not 100% sure that's true. There's not really a logical reason as to why I can think of. There
I
might be
mean,
this one, but
based on both of our stats, it's true.
yeah. But yeah, the reason
It's infuriating because he would save a lot of time here.
The reason why we pick custom characters is because of this skip. Which, if you want to explain.
Yeah, so Zeldacubed goes into the side room and starts jumping because this is this game's version of library skip. It's called Order 368 because it was found by Nuxmaster 368, and that's a really hard landing. There's so many difficult parts about that. like that loading zone, like as it loads into the next room, like improperly, can eat inputs like at all times of day. And also, like the landing is very difficult too.
Yep, after that we've only got one infinite jump skip left in this run. The infinite jump skips are probably the ones where you can lose the most time failing. If you miss a Yoda clip, it's all good, just retry it. If you miss an infinite jump, potentially deep into the jump, that costs quite a bit of time, so kind of glad that I haven't had any trouble with that so far. Hoping that the next one goes well. I might have said that a little too early. Yeah, since we don't have debt clips anymore, this is going to be the first and only example of a slide clip. If you position Yoda and do not move in such a way that Yoda just starts sliding, or any character starts sliding for that matter, they'll just kind of slide through solid collision. So we can take advantage of that to get through that, and it saves a decent amount of time. We don't have to force up the pillars, and yeah, it's nice. There is an alternative strat that you can do, and that's actually required in 2-player because for whatever reason, characters do not slide in 2-player. There's an alternative slime storage strat that you can do in that case. Alright, that's it for episode 3. Relatively okay, other than making a few weird mistakes. But yeah, now we're coming up to the last infinite jump level in the run. This one's a bit involved and I'd like to focus up, so I'll let John explain this one.
Absolutely. It's called Cry Me a River because the old one was called It's Raining Men and we had to find a new song name. And this one makes you cry and it was found by a runner named River. So it's a 2-part jump. We can jump like near the end of the room, like just from the beginning. And that is probably the worst improper load that we deal with in this run. So far it's working well, and then just gotta make sure to not overshoot the landing, but this angle looks good. And then the next part, we're gonna clip through the ceiling here. Gotta close this like enemy door and then jump through, and nice job to stay out of bounds there. That can be tricky as well. And Django is actually going to fall through the floor and die because there's no collision there.
Yeah, the worst part about those infinite jumps is that when you cross over from one room into the next, like during that like lag that you can visibly see on the screen, it can eat your input, and it actually will just eat your input if you try and time it there. So you need to space out your jumps in such a way where you don't have to rely on jumping when it would normally eat your input. So there's that. Oh, I don't think I've shown you that actually. That's new. I think that walking on the conveyor is just a decent bit faster, and it turns out that there's actually a little bit where you can walk on the conveyor next to the stompers, even when they're down. So that's kind of neat. Here I'm taking a specific pathing
Interesting.
to try and get P2 to do something. Hopefully P2 comes immediately. I don't see him.
Doesn't look like he's your friend.
Yeah. And then I also tried doing an IL strat, which we'll see later on in the level if it works. I set up a slam storage before the switch. And we're going to find out if I stored sufficient height. For whatever reason, I'm convinced that there's more to getting good height than just timing the swap and slam at the same time. I don't have anything to actually back that up other than just it feels like that's the case, so hopefully we'll get through this ceiling right here.
You did actually have that one, but the timing is pretty tough
yeah.
when you do have it.
Oh well, second try's fine.
Hard trick.
Yeah. We're losing a bit, but honestly, I'll take it. Alright, this next level, I'm gonna be honest, it's just really, really boring. There's nothing going on for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
To all the viewers out there, I would suggest watching a video called Culver's Hell during this time, but If you, we'll be here when the video's done. If you
Yeah,
don't want to watch it,
Q&A
that's okay
time,
too.
maybe. Like, what I can say about Jedi Battle in this game is that free play in this game is longer than story mode and any percent on PC. Like, it's actually that insane. So, like, just imagine how long story mode in this game is.
And then also there, I tried to rely on player 2 pulling the switch. He did not, and he does that a lot. It's really annoying. So there is actually, maybe not RNG, but luck-based portions to this level. Hooray!
Yeah, there's like, out of the 22 levels in this run, I'd say we're at the point in the speed run where there's basically only 3 levels where stuff can happen that is not your fault, and like, this is for sure one of them. And at the moment, because we haven't solved the bomb skip at the end of the level completely due to the height problems that Zeldacubed talked about, it's also that Droid Factory is also one of them. So Droid Factory and Jedi Battle back to back is a little bit difficult.
I'm so bored. I'm so bored. This all sucks.
Yeah, I, as much as I hype this run up being my favorite like ever, and that is true. This is my favorite speedrun ever. This level is tricky to keep the hype going for.
There we do get to see Matrix though. If you kill the droidicas optimally, you end up in a state where one of them is like dead, but they're not going to interact with you, and they're just still on the screen for some reason. So it's like the coolest part of this level. It's kind of unfortunate that the coolest part of the level is just a minor visual bug. It's so bad.
Well,
I
it
hate
can
this.
be more exciting. I have had it, I think twice at least, where the Matrix happens, but it still can shoot. It was really weird.
I have not seen that. That's interesting. I actually think I remember you telling me about that, but I forgot.
Well, I've been running this game for like 7 years, like
Yeah.
and it's happened so rarely.
I think I'm at like 3 or 4. I honestly don't even remember. Very intermittently.
You started running free play 3 years ago, I remember that.
Okay.
Then any percent was the summer before that.
I almost just went to 2-4.
Yeah,
That would have been bad. Yeah, John said this earlier
like
in
two
the
different
run.
versions of Padme.
Yeah, John said this earlier in the run, but um, like some levels are just ship levels, just like in PC and console. But the main difference is that the ship levels in this game don't have free play, which honestly is actually kind of nice because the ship levels are probably my least favorite part about this game. So not having to play them is really nice. Of course, most people play any percent and not free play, and that has 2 ship levels of the 6 levels you play. So they're missing out.
There's a reason any percent has never been shown at LEGOthon, by the way, because the people who actually put time into this game don't like any percent. It's pretty boring.
Yeah, the definition of any percent in this game is finish the last level in each episode. But there's just a trick that allows you to skip to the last level in each episode pretty trivially. So it just makes for a really boring run.
You only have 1 episode left in this run.
I do. Time for the first level in the game.
How's the pace looking?
BPT 3541. Just like, it's fine. Nothing spectacular, but it's good enough.
You still could technically beat my PB.
Probably not. I think it's very unlikely that I'd play within 4 seconds of someone best. but I'm just gonna try my best to close out the run. This level is basically stuff you've
Yeah,
already all
and
seen.
well, do you still find this clip to be one of the hardest?
No, I've solved this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, different door clips have like different D-pad inputs that you need to do. Some require like a very harsh switch of the D-pad with a very specific timing. Some you kind of want to more roll it. It's like kind of case by case. That one in particular at the end of the level is one where you want to be very harsh about it. Actually, I think my slot 8's Lando, right? That's Blaster.
Yeah, that's a good slot 8.
Yeah, so usually if you just beat the game normally and you have like a normal set of characters unlocked, you're always guaranteed to get a Blaster character in your slot 8 in free play. Because of the manipulation we do with how we unlock characters, the last slot is a bit more variable. So for this level and the next one, we specifically want it to be a Blaster character. And that's just because, like, in order to use those grapples, you need to be on a Blaster character. And so it's just a lot more convenient to be able to press a shoulder button to switch to the last character, and rather than having to go out of your way to use the touchscreen to do it. So that's nice for this level. The level where we really want it is the next one, because there's one particular grapple that we need to do immediately after a level transition. It's a lot easier to just switch to that character with a shoulder button than it is to use the touchscreen in that specific case, but we'll see when we get there if we get it.
The really like best RNG that you could get in the next level is a bounty hunter on slot 8.
Yeah. And I built up Astromech. Okay.
Oh god, double astromech. It for some reason they love giving you a droid on slot 8 when the final character slot is unspecified.
Yeah, after this clip is the grapple that I'm talking about. Like, it's immediately after the load transition, so it's just so much nicer to switch using the shoulder button, but we have the touchscreen view there. Yeah, there are 3 clips in this level, and they have increasingly higher difficulty on each clip. So that first clip is just a standard, like, straight-on Yoda clip. That second one requires you to clip at more of an angle. And then this third one, you don't have a lot of space, and it's just an incredibly awkward angle. Although I do actually like this one. I think it looks really cool.
Well, it looks cool, because especially when you do it first try, it's kind of like, whoa, how'd you do that? But, like, for me, it's kind of one where if I'm thinking about it, I am doomed.
Yeah, it's really strange. That one, in my experience, is like you kind of want to do more of a roll than an immediate input, but the roll is also just like kind of hard to describe. It's really weird. But I don't know, it makes sense to me, so I'm okay with it.
I do like the routing in this last room too. There isn't an awful lot to say about it, but I kind of like how this last room flows if you're like doing everything right. And also worth noting that you can clip through the last door, but the ending zone to the level is not active until the panel is used.
And actually, Astromech on slot 8 is actually not too bad there for that reason. Because we have to use Astromech to activate it, or the Bounty Hunter droid combo. Alright, it's the last level of the run. Can you believe it? We're already here. There is one neat thing at the start, which I'll let John take care of explaining.
Sure, so we can damage this boss using the detonators. Oh, you're going for the droid kills as well. It's a little bit risky. But you can bounce them off of the abyss because there is a floor there, but you can't stand on it because it's death. And you have to make sure that you don't get too many hits there. You have to end that fight the normal way, and if you damaged Maul any extra times, the game crashes.
Yeah. We did store one final bit of slam storage there, and that's just to clear this gap a little more easily. This is the one example where we use slam storage strictly just for the extra height it gives, rather than to like clip through a ceiling. So, looks neat there.
And then a few more clips, and we're gonna chase Maul around the arena a little bit. This was a strat that I didn't pick up until shockingly recently, but it is way more simple than I was making it out to be. And then the whole reason is so that when he first jumps up, instead of forcing the first barrel back, you can just throw a bomb. And then time is going to be pretty soon.
That's it. Time.
GG. That was pretty sick. I'm glad you were able to show this category again.
Yeah, that didn't go as badly as I was expecting. I'm okay with that.
Didn't you just get 35? Am I not mistaken?
Yeah, I got my splits say 35-51.
Yeah, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, no, really good run. Very, very fun game. I want to check it out. And a very exciting end to LEGOthon Friday. So thank you both for coming. Cube, thanks for the run. Laser, thanks for for your run and for commentating this. You're on a DS grind.
John's a legend. Shoutouts to them. Glad they could make it here.
Absolutely. But yeah, I don't know if either of you have anything else to say. Otherwise, I think we'll close out the event.
Yeah, just thanks everyone. This was cool to do.
Shoutouts to Shemcat, of course. Sure. Shemcat, Nuxmaster, Lord Magecar. Lord Magecar is a very important person. There are some unsung heroes in speedrunning in general. And it's people who like don't necessarily speedrun the games, but dedicate their time to routing and glitch hunting. And Magecar is like the entire DS LEGO games most important glitch hunter. Like I don't know where we'd be without Lord Magecar. So thank you.
Yeah, Magecar is a big one. Shouts to Magecar. And yeah, if anybody here ever sees Shemcat, be sure to point and laugh. He deserves it.
Because he hasn't yet PB'd this year.
Exactly.
Well, with that, I think... Perfect. Yeah, I think we will close out. Tomorrow, we will be starting same time, 10 a.m. EST, with LEGO Harry Potter Years 5 through 7 co-op. Chimgan and T-Fresh. Directly followed by the Lord of the Rings / The Hobbit Restricted. No levels early and restricted free.